I just wanted to do a quick video. I've been carrying this around for a month. By the way, sorry, this bedroom cam, crappy lighting, sorry. It's the best I can do right now. This is my Franklin Quest agenda. It's a zip binder, and it has Franklin Covey original 2-page per day inserts in it, which look like this, if you can see. You have, these work really nicely for me. You have a pretty long sort of task list here that has a column for to prioritize the tasks. So it's not just a long list of things that some are important, some are not. You can actually indicate which ones you need to get done that day and which ones are kind of more optional, which I found really helpful, particularly on really busy days. Or if I got sidetracked on something unexpected and I come back to my desk and want to just knock off the most important things, I can see what they are. I have scheduling that runs from like basically 5 in the morning until 10 at night, which is really nice because I don't do stuff this early usually, but when I do need to do something really early in the morning, I definitely want to have a place to write it down. And my workday tends to end at 11 p.m., so the fact that this actually covers my full workday most of the time is awesome. I know I've talked about all of this before, so I'll try to make this quick. I have a full notes page over here that has a column here. Basically, I just number the items that as I write them down, which helps me sort of visually differentiate the notes on here. These work great. The whole planner works great. It's got big 1.5-inch rings that which work. I mean, I can fit everything in here, like up to the kitchen sink. It's all here. I've got pretty extensive notes and contacts and lots of extra note paper, and I've got January, February, March, and April's day pages in here, which is nice, although I found that I almost never am writing on day pages more than a month out, and so I don't need that many. It's got pretty decent pockets. The fact that it's a zip binder I found kind of, I'm not crazy about it, but it actually does, sorry it's so dark, but when it's all zipped up, I like how it kind of, it's tidy, everything inside is secure, and it's a pretty big planner, but it's not unportable. Is that a word? I don't know if it's a word. Anyway, but this is very practical. It's like the minivan of planners. You can fit a lot in it, and it's really well designed. It's also, I didn't pay much for it. It's really durable. It looks pretty professional, and it's got kind of a, although it's like I pointed out to someone on Twitter yesterday, it kind of has this like, mid-1990s middle manager look to it. So, anyway, what this is about, this is my bright red Winchester, which isn't looking so bright red in this light, but it's a vivid, like, beautiful color, and this is in beautiful condition. It's from 1989. I bought it on eBay. It had never been used. It was in its box with all its original inserts. Clearly somebody bought it or was given it, and they wrote like a stray number of notes into the diary and then stuck it on a shelf somewhere and never touched it again. It was immaculate, and it is beautiful. I actually paid a fair amount of money for, I think I paid over $100 for this. I felt it was totally worth it. I see well-used ones sell for like $60, not unusually, so definitely this was pretty, I think, well worth the money. The only thing that I really struggled with, I think I struggled with two things on this. Number one, the ring size is pretty small, and number two, there's only one pen loop, and it's small, too. So, whoa, rope. Both of those things kind of made this a little bit difficult for me to use. Sorry, my dog is going crazy about something. Hello? Anyway, don't know what that was about. So yes, so I paid some money for it. I absolutely love it. I used it for... I got it in September, and I used it until about January 10th. I absolutely loved it. Everyone at work loved it. And it's very easy to find when you misplace it because it's this bright, bright color. It looks fantastic. It's quite compact. It's definitely, I've pointed out before, it's much more compact than any contemporary personal size Filofax. It's like smaller in height and width, and the full thickness of this is quite small. I was actually looking at it at a Filofax retailer alongside some of the compact ones, and this is actually, I mean, it's a little bit, the compacts are narrower in terms, like the cover measured this way is narrower, but this looks pretty similarly sized. So anyway, love this thing, and if this is the minivan, like, this is like the Italian sports car, this is like an Alfa Romeo or something like that, and it is stylish, it's small, it is like absolutely lovely. It has this very distinctive, very leathery smell to it. This doesn't, it is leather, but it doesn't smell like anything, but this has a very distinct leather odor to it, and the color is just amazing, and I'm big on color, so, and I also like, you know, I think men have trouble accessorizing, and this is like the ultimate accessory. So anyway, I would really love to take what works in this system and house it in this. And that's basically, like, as it stands, these planner pages are significantly larger. They are a full ½ inch wider than the Filofax size. And that extra width makes them a little bit easier to write on, but a lot of it, if you look at these pages, a lot of that is just this, like, green space. When you cut that off, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, you can cut the page down, which Knault has done, and as has the Zoe. You can snip off ½ inch and repunch these, which puts your holes intrude on this scheduling space, more pointedly on the month view. If I get to a month view, the holes punch into this Wednesday and Thursday slot, so it's a little bit more difficult to squeeze, both because the holes are taking space in here, but also because it's hard to write right up against the rings, and so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But that's always an option. It's like, I don't have a big problem with that. I could hack these up, make them fit. On the day pages, I mean, on this side, it doesn't matter, because I'm just cutting down and putting the holes through that column here that I put numbers on. I don't think that's a big deal. On this side, if I have to squeeze a little bit more on my scheduling, I don't think that's a big deal either. But anyway, another option, if I wanted to get similar functionality in this size, is to use the daytimer pages. I use these most of 2012. You have scheduling here from 8 to 8, well, basically from 7:30 to 8:30, from 7:30 to 9, well, 7 to 9, something like that, because the first column, the first row is not, it has no annotation of what time it represents, so I think it's just anything after 8 o'clock, anything before 8 o'clock. So you've got a 13-hour spread here. You have about 8 to-do list lines down here, which are quite tightly ruled. I used them for most of a year. It didn't really bother me. And then you've got a whole notes page over here. This is my Cavendish, by the way. This is another very nice older Filofax that I own. It has 2 pen loops. One is big, one is small. This is actually a very practical one for me to use, and if I wasn't so in love with this, this is probably what I would move into. The problem I have with these, they're not terribly expensive. They're made in Pennsylvania. They are the system is very similar in terms of functionality to the Franklin Planner, but the pages fit straight into a Filofax. The problem with them is that the paper is really crappy. I mean, the paper is fine if you write on it with pencils and certainly ballpoints, but even like gel pens, the paper's fine, and the paper feels quite a bit smoother than the Franklin Covey paper. It's got a nice smooth finish on it, but it's very absorbent, so any kind of wet ink that you use on it just soaks right through. And fountain pens are pretty horrendous, so I have to just sort of give up the ghost on fountain pens. But on the other hand, they fit right into a personal-sized Filofax perfectly. They are a little bit... Their month tabs, if you can see in this crap light, have a very, very, very simple block font. I'd almost call it, I don't know if it's an Arial font or what, but it's just a very... I like that. It's black and white, it's very simple. These have a green one. It's just 3 letters instead of the whole month name. And they're kind of a sloppier looking font. They don't look as nice. It uses upper and lowercase letters. My favorite, really, I don't think I have any here to show you, but my absolute favorite, these Filofax tabs, I don't know, everybody else covers them up, but like, this is the notes tab. I love the sort of aesthetic of this. I think it looks really tidy and professional and clean. And honestly, if Filofax inserts worked better for me, I would be totally interested in using them just because I think they look great. I think they look good. They just don't work that well for me. So, but anyway, so I think that what I have to decide, and the reason why I'm going on yakking so long, is that, you know, this basically works for me, but it doesn't cover as many hours as I want it to cover in the scheduling block. But otherwise is pretty much fine, but I can't use a fountain pen. Whereas these, I can use any pen I want, and they cover the full range of my day. But if I want to use them, I'm going to have to go through the labor of snipping off ½ inch and repunching every single page. That's a lot of pages. It's only the end of February. I have these set up through the end of the year, and if I use this system moving forward, I'm going to have to do that every year. I'm sure I can take the stack. If I decide that this works, I could take the stack of these to my print shop and have them take care of chopping and punching these, and then I can fit them in here. I will have to pull if I do want to move back in here, I'm going to have to pull every trick out of my hat that I can think of to slim down my system. I do have some idea. It's very slim right now because I took a lot of pages out of here and moved them into this, because they actually do have the same ring spacing. But if I want to use this again, I think what I'm going to do, I have this, let me see, this slimline address book, if I just cover the addresses next to it. So it's just, you can write right onto the divider the name and telephone number, And then I just have address sheets tucked in between them. And then I have another set of A to Z, if you are not in the U.S., tabs. These are just the blank ones that I index my notes and information in. What I did when I switched into this was I just put the tabs that have my addresses also index my information. So if I turn to A, I've got all of my A last names, my notes on the apartments I rent out. I have notes on the alarm system at work. I have just all the A stuff is all behind A. That works really well. It's very sensible. So I think I would have to do the same. If I do the same thing in this, I will lose 12 or 13 tabs with tab dividers, which will save some space. I also am thinking I've got a lot of addresses that I don't need to carry around with me. There are some addresses I definitely do want to carry around, but many of them I would be safe with a well-maintained and curated address book at home and just keep telephone numbers in my planner. Because that's what most of the time I'm not writing notes and postcards to like my electrician. I'm just calling them. And so I think just having name, telephone number, maybe an account number, so that they can pull stuff up quickly, stuff like that, reference numbers. But I don't need everybody's mailing address. So that will help slim this down. And I think the other thing that I've tried to do this before with some degree of success, but I think that I keep a lot of work documentation in my planner so that I can look at it anywhere. I think what works better is just to kind of systematically put all that stuff onto Evernote. It's not as completely accessible to me, but I think I don't need... When I'm sitting at my desk at work, all this stuff is at my fingertips anyway, and when I'm not at work, I don't need it to be right at my fingertips. I just need to be able to access it if I need to look something up. So I think that a lot of that, it's all been for the past couple of years, I've been just carrying it all around my planner. I can take all that out of my planner without really losing anything, as long as I have it available to me in some easy-to-access format. So, anyway, so I have to decide, do I want to just pop in an order for Daytimer and use it? It costs about $25 for a year's worth. I could get it with an April start date. Or do I want to cut these down? And I think what I'm thinking, I'm almost at the end of the month. I already have month on 2 pages from Daytimer for 2012 in here that are mostly filled in because I started the year using these. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is take all of the March day pages out of here, cut them on the paper cutter, punch them, and put them in here, and try it for the month of March. And then at the end of the month of March, if I decide, or when I'm getting close to the end of the month of March, if I decide that I don't like these punched, I can buy Daytimer, or I can switch back into this guy, or I can have the rest of the year cut and stuck in here. And I can just, I think I was a little apprehensive about doing that because I didn't want to cut my month tabs if I was going to have to move them back in here. I can totally commit to doing something for a month, but I'm not sure if I want to do it forever. But I realized that because I have these Daytimer ones in here already, I don't need the ones from here. And these basically, they work exactly the same way. They're almost the same setup, they're just slightly smaller. So, I actually kind of like these a little bit better because they have, you won't be able to see this in this crappy lighting, but I don't know if you can see that, like, very slight print on the lines. Basically, it has AM, noon, PM, and evening very lightly, and the pages are ruled. So even though these boxes are tiny, it's pretty easy for me to lay out my appointments for the day that I want to put in a day chronologically, because I've got that guide that helps me sort of land the lunchtime things on the noon slot, the PM things after it, etc. I did do the same thing in this, but it's a little bit less precise. So, but as you can see, they are, whoops, I put them sort of next to each other. It's pretty much the same format. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm really excited to get back into this. This has been enormously successful for me, and I think that probably the cut down pages are going to really be the right solution, but I have to try it and see. But definitely, especially this scheduling block, nobody else, this is impossible to replicate. Nobody else covers this many hours. In fact, even I was looking at Franklin Covey and other sizes, and they don't cover that range of hours of the day. This is the only format that they offer that does this, and Daytimer has a 24-hour and a good sort of, 18-hour one in their classic size, but not classic, their desk size, which is their 5.5 by 8.5. But they don't offer it, and Filofax only runs up to about 9 p.m. So, for the way that my life is, I think these Franklin pages are the best option. I just have to get them cut down so they can fit in here. But anyway, I did not mean to talk for 20 minutes on this, but I will shut up now. Everyone have a great night, and I'll report back.